Hey, this is Larry. Welcome to Stewarding the Wealth Transfer. And you're going, what in the world? You don't look like I would think a wealth transfer video should be. Well, I am going to get to money and what Kim Clement said about the four wells, but I have really a more important question first is, do you have a wealth transfer mentor? And if you don't, why not? And you might go, well, that's really... I'm thinking that the wealth transfer is important, but no, I don't have a wealth transfer mentor. Well, I think you should. Here's the thing. When it comes to the wealth transfer, a whole bunch of you are about to come into tremendous wealth. You're going to be far wealthier than I am. And, you might go, how wealthy are you? Well, I'm well into the percentages of the 1%. But you're going to be far more than I am. But I know the pain that's going to bring. And you're going, well, that money's going to solve them. No, money is not going to solve your problems. It's actually going to create a whole new list of problems that many of you don't realize. But I am going to offer to be your wealth transfer mentor. And I may not be that good at it, but that's what you should use me for, and it's not going to cost you anything. And I'm sure not perfect. I wanted to show you what a mess my shop is, but I'm going to show you a beautiful project that I think you'll agree that I did a good job building down here. And I'm going to take another picture of my shop. You're looking around now and you're seeing a little bit about what my life's like. You're going, Larry, hello, you're a mess. You're like sloppy. You're not telling me anything that I don't know. In fact, I don't really look at it personally that this is really my fault. My wife has been working really hard for 30 years to try to get me to clean up after myself, and she's really not being very successful at that. And I really think that she needs to work harder at it, apparently. No, that's obviously you guys are going, oh my word, you're hopeless. And so I'm not a perfect person, and I think we all have this idea of what somebody's supposed to be like online, and I'm supposed to try to impress you. And I might be able to impress you in one or two things. I'm going to disappoint you in so many other things. And so I just want to get past it and kind of, set some boundaries for the relationship the way that I see it if we're going to work together going forward. I'm not going to ask anything for you out of you. I'd like you to like the videos. I'd like you to subscribe. Other than that, you don't really have to do anything. But I would like to just be able to be myself. And I don't want to be held to some, crazy standard. I'm not a perfect person. I'm a person who's passionate about a few things. And I think that I do pretty well in these areas. I'm really passionate about God. I'm really passionate about being a good business person. And, everybody has different ideas of what that is. But we have a number of businesses that are doing very well in this difficult economy. And in the future, I'd like to share more about that. I'm a real estate investor, a developer, and a builder. And you might go, well, I'd love to know that, but I'll never be able to. Well, don't say that, because I actually think that you could. And I think that you will, especially if you choose to get involved in the wealth transfer. And then I'm just passionate about the wealth transfer. I went to school. I decided to write a book instead of finish my dissertation. That didn't necessarily make the school so happy or whatever. I loved the school. I went to Wagner University in Pasadena that was started by Dr. C. Peter Wagner. And then I wrote a book, and it was more like a reference book on the wealth transfer. It chronicled the prophecies of Kim Clement in regards to financial terms and really focuses in on the 8 wells. I've got a few comments from some friends who've been preluding the book, and then I'm going to show you the book. But I want to tell you all that's in the book, and I finally decided, I can act like I know this stuff, but I wrote this stuff, and it took me months of my life, and I spent about $6,000 to get help to do it. And I would like you to invest in yourself and consider buying one of these books. Is it going to help fund my retirement? No, I'll be shocked, and so will my wife, if I ever pay back half of the $6,000 I've invested in writing coaches and, cover designers and, all the things it takes to get a book. I didn't know. It's really great just to learn how to do that. And I love the people who helped me. A few different people helped me. And if you ever want to write, I would love to share those with you. But the thing is, I want you to invest in yourself and then to get the raw information. And I would like to be able to be myself and kind of give you more my perspective. Because when I recruited my mentor for fly fishing, here's what it was like. I didn't want to pay him. I wanted to see if I could, get a mentor who would help me become a proficient spey caster. And so what did I have to do? I had to create reasons to talk about it. And I found out he was retired and he was very passionate, and he actually invited me over to his house. So I jumped at that opportunity. And I obviously brought my fly rod and I cast, and he showed me tips, and he told me to go practice. And so I did what he said, and I practiced really hard. And then I texted him back the next week and I said, hey, can I come back? And I began to develop this relationship. And you're going to find a lot of retired people don't necessarily have a relationship with somebody that they're able to encourage, whether it's their kid or whatever, and even if it's their adult children. And so they're willing to invest in you if you share a passion. And I think that if you're watching this channel, you share a passion about the wealth transfer. I hope you share a passion about the kingdom of God. And I just want to be able to talk to you because I think the things I'm going to share about these first 4 wells in a few minutes, I'm not going to get into the itty bitty detail that I did when I wrote the reference book. And then I'm going to just do a little 30-second commercial on the book. So the other thing that I did, because leading into that, before I became a real estate developer, I was a pastor of Christian education. And so I have a master's degree in Christian education. So I'm pretty passionate, and I have a lot of opinions about how education should be. And I think experiential education is the way to go. And so I was a little frustrated that my reference book didn't do so well. So I thought, I'm going to, write a story. And I kind of bounced it off with a ghostwriter, my friend Mark, and he helped me. And we talked about it, and we decided to go ahead and tell a story of a young man who gets access to the wealth transfer because his grandfather believed in it, because he attended a Kim Clement crusade, and he went out and invested in one of the investments we're going to talk about shortly. It was actually the Iraqi Dinar. And the story, my book title on Amazon, is called The Parable of the Dinar. And this young man who had just lost his job comes into significant money, and he's like, what am I going to do? How do I know? My grandfather always told me I was going to do well, that I had a destiny in my life, just like I believe God might have told you. And when you come into this destiny, are you prepared to effectively steward all the things that are going to come? Because you can't think the way that you've thought. You are the sum total of all the decisions that you've made. If you like where your life is at, you've made good decisions. If you don't like where your life is at, you probably should have made some different decisions. That can be really encouraging, or that can be really sad. But the decisions that you make from this point forward are going to, there's people who just have bad luck. They get hit by a car, or they have a dysfunctional spouse that's psychotic, or more than likely you might be the dysfunctional psychotic spouse in reality. Who knows? But sometimes I'm that person. But life isn't perfect. But God has created the world so that when He reaches down to us, we reach up to Him, grab His hand, and in faith we run after Him. There's blessings that come our way. We have the hand of God that reaches down to us as we seek wisdom and as we seek help. And so I think mentoring is a huge thing. So we're going to move upstairs to my office, and I'm going to show you the bookcases that I built in this. I'm going to also show you a quick picture of my wood shop here. It's just a mess. And I thought, am I a hypocrite if I clean it? I mean, I always clean it before I start a project. I obviously am not starting a project this way, but I just wanted to show you, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be able to fulfill all the ideals that you have of this person that you don't even know. But I want to passionately share with you my excitement about the kingdom of God, about the wealth transfer that he's using to fund the growth of the kingdom of God. And I want you to become a warrior, a person of faith that will run after God with this new wealth that I believe can come your way. Some people some of you already know it's going to happen. Some of you wonder if it's going to happen. And after it happens, some of you are going to wonder what happened because you're not going to be engaged. And I really believe it. And you may not have as much belief that I do. I hope that my faith is contagious, but I just hope that you'll come along in this journey. So I'm going to do a quick pan around my shop and then we're going to go upstairs. What a mess. But there's some nice tools here. So here's my bookshelves that I built. And I always wanted an office with a tall ceiling so I could have a library ladder like that. And so I got to do that. And these are the shelves that I designed that are so high up there I can't hardly reach them. And so I don't really use them. You gotta have one token open designer shelf. And then these are for all the great big things. And then here's where my desk is. And here's the view that my brother told me we should avoid, so I should probably start using something else. And then here's the chair I'm gonna sit in because when I do my thinking and my praying and my devotions, it happens in this chair. So this is where we're gonna be. Hey, it's Larry. I'm sitting in my chair. I hope you don't mind my bookcases and you didn't mind my little analogy, but you know, I want to be able to do a video or maybe even 2 a week, and I don't want to take a bunch of time to get this perfect thing, and I don't want to try to be somebody that I'm not. So, you know, I'm a messy person. I think I'm a decent woodworker. I'm a dreamer. I create things in my mind and I can, you know, build them out. And that's kind of been the story of my life. I see things in my head and I work toward it and I have goals and dreams. And I think that's what God does. I think that, you know, we are the only creature that can have goals and dreams. Yes, sir, your dog, I love dogs. They can have bad dreams and they, you know, bark and, you know, run in their dreams, but they're not dreaming about what could be. And I believe that's definitely part of the likeness of God. And yes, I even think that God dreams. And you'd go, well, why does God dream? Well, God has dreams for you that you may not realize because you don't have either the faith or the obedience to carry it through. The sovereignty of God is an interesting thing. Can he make you do things? Yes, he could. But I think he normally doesn't choose to do that. But he does have ideals and hopes and aspirations for you. And I pray that God, let me fulfill the hopes and aspirations that you have, and even let me exceed it, if that's possible. I don't know that that's possible. It's kind of a funny conundrum. But I believe that God has got dreams for you, and I want to encourage you to dream, and I want to talk about the wealth transfer now. So there's really 4 wells of blessing in the wealth transfer that Kim Clement talked about that we know of, and the other 4, we don't know what they are yet. And so you can look at the book if you want to get a detailed idea of what those 4 things are, but I'm going to tell you what they are. It's precious metals, which is both gold and silver. That's what I count as 1. XRP is number 2. The dinar, the Iraqi dinar, is number 3. And BBB, which is British Columbia Canadian exploration company that drills for gold and silver mines, and they're specifically trying to do a silver mine. And this poor company has had really good drillings, but it's such an environmental nightmare to get through. They've been stuck, and they've existed about 11 years now, and their stock has actually come down a lot. And so you can get stock in this exploration mining company for 10 cents because they haven't made a profit yet. They haven't really made money. They've only expended money. So every one of these investments
is God, basically the hand of God or circumstance is holding it down. And people could easily look at these things and go, those are stupid investments. Well, I'm not here telling you that I thought of these ideas. I believe that God gave them to Kim Clement. It's going to take faith. Only people of faith are going to do it. And, like Amos 3:7 says, I, the Lord your God, only do what I first revealed to my servants, the prophets. And I believe what he said. Now, when I hear a prophet say something, do I just run and do it because they said it? Well, it depends. If they're talking to me and I know it's of God, I'll discern it, and then I probably will do it. But this isn't a mandatory thing that you have to do. This is an opportunity for those who are willing and those who will invest. That takes risk. Some people say that faith takes risk. And so, do you want to risk some of your capital? Should you risk a whole bunch? No, I don't think you should. But anyway, when I hear a prophetic word regarding wealth, I listen to it. I pray for discernment on it. I look at my own experience, and then I also look at experts. And so I've come to the conclusion that the four that Kim Clement prophesies about, I think that BBB will probably be the last one. It's interesting that he says that silver and gold in the summertime are going to be revealed. And I'll put the date right here, and you'll be able to know what date Kim Clement made that prophecy if you want to check up on me at houseofdestiny.org. So I think that the first one, and you can't know this, but I think that the first one might be the Iraqi Dinar. That's the most crazy one. It's the wildest one that I think has probably the biggest potential for return other than XRP. But the interesting thing about the Iraqi Dinar, all the other investments you're going to want to buy and hold. The Iraqi Dinar, you're going to want to move it as quick as you can. And I think that people who participate in the Iraqi Dinar are going to do the best because they're going to move their funds into other things. I'm going to tell you, I also think, and I don't know this and I didn't receive this, this is my experiential, logical mind. A lot of people who are not investors and they're not realizing how fragile our economy is, they're going to come into this money and they're not going to know what to do with it. And they're going to save it. And we've been taught that savings is really good. I will tell you another challenge that we've had here at the Woodhouse is when we have money that's in savings, I say, hey, Tracy, I don't want so much money, because we live on a conservative percentage of what comes in. How much our businesses make is not what we spend. We spend the same amount every month because we get like a payday just like you do, except we determine what we pay ourselves, and it's a frugal percentage of what we make. And so if we need more, we can go back. And that's the way that I hope that you will be on the other side of the wealth transfer. You don't look at how much money you've got in the bank and decide to have a party. You have your own separate account that you live off of, and then you let your business or businesses acquire money, and hopefully it's going up every month. If you run it well and you're blessed of God, that's what's going to happen. Anyway, the Iraqi Dinar, when it happens, is the only thing that people need to spend it. We have a very fragile economy, the most fragile I've seen. I mean, I went down in 2008. This is going to be far worse than 2008. That's my logical, experiential, intellectual opinion of our economy. You're going to want to get rid of as fast as you can. And I think that one that you want to get rid of, I think might be the first one. And I think it's actually going to be related to BRICS. And also it's related to a prophecy from Morningstar, and I forgot his name, but I'm going to reference the video, but he saw the dollar falling by a third, and then another third, and another third. And I think when that happens, as the dollar goes down, I think that it's logical to me that that might be when the Iraqi dinar revalues. And I'm going to tell you, if you get into the Iraqi Dinar, there's a prophetic community, and then there's the, I'm going to call it the secular community. And everybody who's in the dinar investment is hoping that's going to happen. But I'm telling you, it's the craziest, most irrational, and the people drive me nuts, because Kim Clement was very clear. There's about 3 different factors that are going to happen. And when I wrote the book on the dinar, I couldn't figure out the first one. He talks about it's a time of grave surrender. Well, the grave surrender is going to be that the Israelis are going to kick tail so bad on the adjoining Muslim nations as they take back the original soil that the Israelites were given by God, because right now they don't have as much as the Bible prophesied they were going to have. I mean, I'm not a Bible expert in that area, but the Israelis are going to kick their tail, and when the Arabs quit, the Israelis are going to quit. And I think there's going to be a grave surrender. And so now it makes sense, because it didn't make any sense to me. What was the grave surrender that Kim Clement talked about? The second thing he talks about is the Dow racing towards 20,000. Well, everybody thought that when the Dow was going to race to 20,000, because Donald Trump was the president when the Dow went from 17,000 when he got elected, quickly went to past 20,000. It's never come back. It's gone way past. It's like 37,000 right now as we speak. Kim Clement said when the dinar is revalued, it's going to be racing to 20,000. Everybody, all the Christians always assumed it was going to be racing on the way up. It's very clear now to me it's going to be racing on the way down. And I remember in 08, October, I believe it was, of 08, when the economy crashed, as a home builder, I was smoked. I was toasted. And it was so frustrating to see such amazing opportunities. I remember every one of the American car companies was down to under $1 a piece, yet I had no money and I couldn't invest because I was, decimated in 2008. And I kind of made a promise to myself and prayed to God, God, don't let me be in this situation again. So this time I can see it's going to be at least as bad, and I believe it'll be far worse than what's happening in 08. I'm not going to be a bit surprised when the stock market comes down, and this time I'm going to be ready to jump in. And I've got some dinar. Now, is this something I've invested tons of money in? No, it's like a crazy investment. But what if you had the opportunity? Do you think I'm crazy that I've spent a few $1,000s, maybe more than a few, on something that it's worth 70 cents, okay? So I could sell it on eBay for 70 or 75 cents on the dollar for what I paid. And yet there's a prophetic destiny on this investment that it's going to go far higher. So some people go, you're so stupid that you believe in that crazy Iraqi dinar. I've had really godly pastors kind of laugh that I think that the dinar is the real deal. And I think I'll be laughing, but I won't rub it in their face, but I believe it is going to happen. I don't think those people realize it's already happened in Kuwait. And so there's a historical precedent, and I talk about that. There's actually a New York Times newspaper story that you can find online about in 1999, or maybe it was year 2000, when the Kuwait currency came back. Some people had been buying it for 10 and 15 cents, and it came back at its previous to being invaded price of $3.32, I think it was. And so those people who paid a dime the week before, and then it goes up to $3.32, they made 32.5 times on their money, in a week or a month or whatever. Well, the Iraqi dinar is like 15 for a penny right now, and you can get 1 million Iraqi dinar for $1,100. Now, some of you go, well, I don't have $1,100 to buy, and that's fine. For $30, you can get a $25,000 dinar and get it mailed to you on eBay. And if you do that, you're going to get, it's not that big of a risk. That's, what is that? 4 cups of coffee at Starbucks. And so then you'll have something that, you can be participating. You can be prepared.
Hey, this is Larry. Thank you so much for watching the video.
leave some comments. Let me know how I can adjust. I don't plan on making any more videos from my basement, but I hope you could understand that the rapport that I want to have is not a typical, talking head. I want to be able to give you my perspective from my chair as if you were a buddy sitting in my office and we were dialoguing about what God might be doing with the wealth transfer and what he's doing in the kingdom. So I'll be praying for you. I hope that you'll consider getting the book. I'm not going to drive this book, too much more, but I want to make it clearly available. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much.